Hello. And today we have my friend and my one of my mentors, Salina. Salina, welcome.
Thank you, Emily. Glad to be here.
Salina is an emotion code practitioner. And at first, I didn't really understand what that was. And it was really funny. The way that we met was Selena sent me a message on, I believe it was on Instagram. And she said that she was an emotion code practitioner and that she wanted to do just like a sample session with me. And unfortunately, I get messages all the time from people on social media and everything. And they're like, I want to read your tarot cards. I want to do your psychic reading. I want to do your this. I want to do your that. And every time I'm just like, nope, 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 nope. And then I get this message from Selena, and something, a knowing inside of me, stopped and went, yes, 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 I want to talk to you. And I'm so glad because it literally changed my life to talk to you. Um,
Aw.
do you remember? I think was it the end of 2019?
It was some time ago, maybe almost 2 years ago, right?
I think
Yeah,
so. I think
yeah,
so. Um,
yeah.
so I'm just going to tell everybody real quick my experience, and then I want you to fill in the blanks of the the information that you have on how you do this because um, I really thought that meat was it. I thought that fatty meat was just everything.
Right. I mean, well, it can do so much.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and I had already whenever I met you, I had already had so much healing from the autoimmune disease and from the mental illness that I was just like, I'm good, like I'm golden, like everything's fine until it wasn't. um, so long story short, I met with Selena and we released trapped emotions. And that was brand new for me. That was something that I had never experienced. But what struck me immediately about the interaction with you was the connection that I felt with you. It was something I hadn't really experienced very often. Um, I felt so safe and I felt so welcomed. Like I felt very heard, um, and that you genuinely wanted to know what was going on with me. It wasn't just like a yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, you're just checking a list. Like I liken it to like going to like doctor or
Hmm.
going to a nurse where you tell them what's going on with you and you almost are trying to say it so fast that you're like, I know that you don't have a lot of time, so this is wrong with me and my knee hurts and my head hurts and this and blah, 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 and that's it. And with you it was just like time stopped for a second and you nothing else mattered in your world at that moment. Like your focus was only on me. And that alone spoke like volumes to me because I was just like, whoa, like this is seriously so professional that this woman has stopped her entire life to listen and to connect with me on a totally different level. It wasn't even just a conversation, it was a spiritual and an emotional connection. And I felt I felt seen and I felt cared for. Um, and then we went through the process. We went through the session and we released some trapped emotions. and I don't even remember what they were. I'm sure we could go back and look, but they were, just very simple. And I just remember the feeling that I had before, during, and after the session. And I just felt so good. I felt so light. And I love that you prayed to God. It wasn't this stereotype that I had in my mind that this was demonic, that this was woo woo or weird or voodoo or crazy. It was, it felt like church. It felt literally like you were praying over me, like you were just wishing and praying that these trapped emotions that were obstacles in my healing would just be released. It would be as if like someone had like a hurt shoulder and you went to church, and then one of the spiritual
Mhm.
leaders put their hands on you and prayed over that shoulder. Like, I wish this pain would go away. I want this pain to go away. Lord, please let this pain go away. And that's literally what it was. It was like you were praying over me. That's
Oh, Emily, thank you so much for sharing that. And I know you always thank me for sessions, but I guess because we're having this space to really, talk about your experience that you articulated it even further. So like I'm tearing up hearing all of this because that's what my heart is to do. Only God heals. I always say that only God heals. Prayer is a type of energy work. Um, you know, there's so many paths to healing. The emotion code, the body code, is the path that I'm called to use to work with people in addition to prayer for healing. And part of being in a healer role to hold space for people's healing is to be able to tune everything out and focus on you and be that pure vessel to facilitate God's healing for you. So that's what you described, that's what you experience. And, God is unlimited. So there's healing there, you know, that you've experienced, that I've experienced. So, yeah, I'm so glad we're talking about the emotion code because it's such a powerful tool for healing.
absolutely. And whenever we first did our first session, I thought, wow, this is nice. This is a nice luxury. Like, um, I'll put it in my budget for like a massage, or I'll put it in my budget to like go get my nails done. Like, it was just this nice, warm feeling, and it was a beautiful little luxury. And that's all I thought about of it. And then my world got turned upside down in March of 2020. I had an absolute tragedy happen in my family. And I don't talk about this publicly because it's not completely my story. I am an open book, but my family is not. And so we're not going to go over the details of my tragedy, but I reached out to you and I said, okay, now I need you. Now I need you. And I didn't know where else to go. And I remember thinking about church and, and thinking about God and thinking about scripture. And I did go to those things. I didn't go to church, but it was just like this, almost like a divine appointment. Like I could see immediately whenever the need came, the tragedy came, it was this immediate knowing, you need to go talk to Salina. And I was just like, oh, I was like, thank you, God. Like, thank you that I have this connection already. Like, I already have this resource. And so I went to you and we started having very regular sessions. I don't remember if they were every month at first, or every other month, or
I can't remember. It was pretty regular. It was pretty regular. Um, and at the beginning, maybe you could have even benefited from a little more. Like, if someone's going through a major tragedy, I would recommend weekly till you feel a little lighter. But yeah,
yeah.
even once a month session can be very powerful.
And what stood out to me so much is that I was focusing on the tragedy. And I was like, okay, Salina, like, let's go to the tragedy. Like, let's triage the tragedy. And instead, what happened in our sessions with that was that we had to address whatever came to the surface. And that's what we dealt with that week. And it
Mm-hmm.
was like generational trapped emotions. And I'm sitting here going, no, 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 like that's not the case. Like this is the problem. That's extra, whatever. But then as we kept going for months forward, I recognized that that was the way. That was the path to go through and release those inherited. I mean, some
Mm-hmm.
of them were like from like 5 generations
Mm-hmm. And
of,
then they can cause patterns and have you imbalanced in certain ways, like now that you don't even realize.
yeah, absolutely. And so then I started just building on that freedom and feeling that release. It's the best way to say it, the release of all of those trapped emotions. And then there was clarity. And as I released all of these trapped emotions with you, and it wasn't just over me, it was over me, it was over my husband, it was over my son. And then, like I said before,
Mm-hmm.
it was inherited. So it was, through my parents. Um, and it was just like slowly I started to really see things for what they were. And there was so much clarity that came as we cleared out the noise of what was really going on. And I wasn't as distracted by the tragedy. I realized that the whole point was that I needed to learn these lessons and I needed to press in and to go further in my walk with God than I had
Yeah. And you
ever
did
gone.
amazing. You did amazing. I mean, you were able to get to a level of peace, in that tragedy that most people could never, ever, ever do. you know, so you're a total superstar. But releasing those trapped emotions makes it a lot easier uh, to get
Abs-
there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's so funny because I had an agenda at the beginning. I wanted to resolve this tragedy. And the tragedy went on for a year and 9 months.
Hmm.
And by the end of, I would say, Salina, by the end of the first
Year,
month,
but
I would say month, like month or 2 months of working with you. Yes, the tragedy still hurt, but it didn't matter.
yeah, you could
Like,
function. You were less attached to the outcome. You were so much more gentle with yourself and everyone involved. So there's so many lessons and breakthroughs you had that's gonna, help you for the rest of your life as you help others, because those are some of the same lessons, so many of your clients are gonna need to walk through as well.
oh, absolutely. And the cool part about it is that like no one can take it away from me.
Mm-mm,
Like
mm-mm.
nothing
You had
can
the crash
change.
course.
Yeah,
you, you had the advanced level. It
exactly.
was rough, but you did it.
Yes, absolutely. And your dedication to it really was amazing as well. Um that you would answer all my questions and that you would, continue to do the work with me. Um, and and what I remember, it's so funny because like I think back to some of my early questions and I'm like, she never made me feel stupid. Like she never made me feel like, oh, Emily, you're asking the wrong question. You just like loved me through the whole process until, like now I'm releasing trapped emotions over my family on my own.
I love that. Yes. Yes.
And I never would have in a million years thought that I was capable of that.
Yes. Well, this whole process is meant to give you like a greater level of self-love, help you be closer to God, and also, more empowerment. Definitely, you are more empowered. And then now you can step into, just enjoying feeling so light, feeling so free, and being able to, process emotions in a healthy way and not have them trap and drag you down.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it was amazing to me the terminology that you were able to put on my emotions. Like, you know how like people just they have this like icky feeling and they don't even know what that icky feeling is. But whenever you would speak the word and then the definition, oh my gosh, whenever you would send me the definition of the trapped emotion that we were releasing, it was just like this clarity again. It was just like, oh, that's what I'm feeling. That's what I've been feeling since age 9. That's what I've been feeling since that happened to me when I was 17. That's what it, and it's just like this clarity comes through. And as it's being released, it's just like you're seeing it on its way out. You're just like, oh, that's what caused me all this problems. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and now, I mean, you know, I I have never been more clear and more powerful in my ability to transform other people's lives. And it is foundational, the work that you and I have done. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for you.
Oh, I love that.
Would not be. I would not be as powerful and as clear as I am. And I would not have the connection that I have with God.
Yeah, and I love seeing you being able to walk in your power and affect so many people in such a great way. And that's probably why we are drawn to each other. I really feel like every client or person that I work with, God brought us together. So it was meant to be because, obviously I don't reach out to everyone. I'm not even one of those people that reach out, but I must have saw one of your videos. So I had, followed your work, your story, been inspired. And it was just something in me like, oh, you've got to reach out to her. So it just worked out. God knows what
God,
we need.
yeah, God knew I needed you. And
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
didn't even know that, you know, the roof was about to cave in.
Right, exactly. But God knew, God knew. So it's just one of those things, learning to trust the process, learning to trust the universe and see how God just provides that, in so many areas, so and I've learned so much from this process with you as well, because when we started working together, that's when I had just launched my practice. So it was like, wow, okay. Um, this is, she's facing a mountain, but we'll get through it, you know. And we just trust the process and it all worked out.
Yeah, and I loved the experience with my husband because I was just like, "Hey, babe, like I know this is weird, but I trust this person." And at first he was just like, um, I'm not uncomfortable with it, but I don't really know what to think about it. And then he gave his approval and he was just like, "Yeah, go ahead." And it wasn't until I emailed, because we did some emotion code sessions on him, and it wasn't until I showed him the report, because you would give us a report at the end of every session, and I'm like, hey babe, like she released horror or terror or fear from you at age 7. And he was just like, oh my gosh, that's when such and such happened. Or there was just everything, every trapped emotion, there was just this like confirmation for him. And it became his favorite thing. It became one of his, like, once he would get that report, he would just be like, I felt that. Like I really felt that lift off of me. And he didn't know like
Mm-hmm.
that he knew that I scheduled him. But what I love about what you do is that you can do it remotely. And the majority of I would say
Right.
95% of our sessions were
Yes,
remote.
at least 90%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And it's really good to have that remote option because, if the client is, your 5-year-old child or a 6-month old or, an elderly one, that's, has dementia or a pet, this method also works really well with animals, then, just being able to connect to that person's energy and facilitate their session remotely by proxy it's fine. It works just as effectively.
Yes. And that was really powerful for me as a mom, because I had I felt so lost as a mom, because the tragedy was around my son, and I felt so helpless and hopeless. Like I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to solve this problem. Me, this child therapist who knows how to address everything, didn't know how to address this. And it was so paralyzing. But the work with you gave me something to do. It gave me something to feed on that was healthy for my mind. Instead of me being hopeless, I had hope. And with every session, it was just like we like peeled off another layer of
Mm-hmm.
that just disillusion. And I kept getting more and more clarity as we went forward. And then I started seeing transformation. I started seeing my husband transform. I started seeing my son transform. I started seeing my mom transform. And I'm just like, whoa, like this is amazing. And it makes me think again, like about prayer,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not like you're sitting there manipulating people. You're literally praying for God's will.
Yes.
That's
Yes. Yeah. And
it.
and and for the energy of love, which is the highest frequency, the most powerful energy. Yes, love right there. Um, to go into that situation, to go, sweep out those trapped emotions. Love is the most transforming energy, and when I do sessions and do this type of work, for me, it honestly feels like a prayer. You know, it is considered bioenergetic medicine, and you can see it that way. But for me, I just relate to it as it's prayer. I'm like just facilitating, I'm asking, I'm requesting, I'm facilitating God's healing, and God shows up.
And
Yeah.
he did every single time. And simultaneously, as we were doing this for, I would say 2, 3 years now, um, I started really pressing in to God and really getting very intentional about my quiet time with Him. And I noticed a huge difference from day one to like now. And so I really believe that cleared out so much noise, and that trapped emotions, they were just like like anchors, like they were just like dragging
Mhm.
me down. And it was almost like I couldn't enter into a deep meditative prayer state whenever I was just had so much going on. And the more that we released, the closer that I got
Mhm.
to, the easier it was to enter in to that intimate prayer time with God.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're describing exactly what so many people experience when, they have the emotion code sessions, when their heart wall gets, especially when the heart wall is cleared, you just have so much more clarity, more connection to your authentic self, more connection to um, your relationship with God. Because when you have all that heaviness on you, it's hard to tell like what's what, you know. It's like you're in murky water. But
Yeah.
when that lifts, you see how beautiful you are. You see how beautiful God is. See how connected you are to everyone and everything. And it's so much easier. So much easier.
Yeah. And that was hard for me to understand at the beginning, the heart wall, because I was just like, what? Like, I love everybody. Like, I have so much compassion, but it was almost like it corrected things. Like, I would love out of an imbalance. And whenever we cleared my heart wall, it was just like it corrected me to be more
Mhm.
aligned. Like I picture like a chiropractor
Right,
where
right. Because I mean, you were loving. You're always been a very loving person, but you were loving on those people, those situations through all those layers of your heart wall. So um, the energy is a little distorted when your pure intention of love has to go through all those layers of, low self-esteem, insecurities, previous rejection, trauma after trauma. So it makes it difficult. And then when that's cleared up, then it's like how you described, you know?
well actually and it I feel that I'm a better coach now because I'm more clear and I'm not projecting my stuff onto my clients because I'm not having to go through all these layers of my heart wall and layers of trapped emotions.
Very true.
I
Hmm.
can just freely like go right to it and just be like, okay, here's what I see, here's what's going on, here's who you are. And I literally can see them. Like I think about it like glasses. Like I had like foggy lenses and now I just have like either no glasses or I have like these clear lenses and I can clearly see them um, in their wellness, for
Yes.
who they really are.
Yes.
So,
So good.
yeah, it really is. And that's why I wanted to have you come on and talk about it because I think there's so much misconception about it. That this is new age, that this is demonic, that it is of the devil, or it is, I don't know.
Well,
But
there's a lot of religious programming and all that type of things, Um, in the Christian tradition, Jesus did energy healing. Prayer is a form of energy. It's the greatest energy healer ever. You know, this is just another method to do energy healing.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's also really important to recognize who you're praying to. We're not praying to crystals to ask them for the answers. We're praying to God and saying and recognizing that there is a Holy Spirit inside of us that wants to guide us, that wants to, really reveal what's really going on. And so that has been so powerful for me to understand that.
Yes.
So, how do people normally work with you? Do they just have one session? Do they have, is it better to have like a package of sessions? I mean, I would think that, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I always recommend people to schedule a sample session first. So the session, it does include a full assessment. So I'm talking with them about what's surfacing for them, like now, like what are they wanting to work on now, whether it's a health issue, whether it's an emotional issue, whether it's making peace with their past. But then I also check, their energetic markers, see how much stored trauma they're holding on to, see, any level of anxiety, depression, any resistance in any area of life that they're wanting to work on, and kind of just get a full assessment of what they need to work on. I also measure their heart wall. So their heart wall can be measured. Uh, so that gives me an indication of how much stored trauma. They don't need to tell me the applied kinesiology and muscle testing we use can help us get those answers. So based on what happens in your assessment is what's recommended. So we usually start with the heart wall. That's pretty foundational, and then move on to the areas that they prioritize that they want to work on. So it just depends how much, healing, how much work you'd like to do, what you're open to doing, and what the immediate needs are.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. And then you give them the option of if they would like to do it live or remote.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. So we can do the sessions either by phone call, WhatsApp, or FaceTime, or remote email session. So if it's a remote email session, then we're just communicating like, hey, what would you like to focus on? And they let me know. I ask any follow-up questions for some information I might need to do that session. And then we set a time and I do their session. I connect with them energetically. They don't have to be on the phone or video call. I connect with them energetically, do the session, and then send the results by email. So works just the same.
Yeah, and I loved having you as like my own personal witness to literally watch the miracles. I mean, because I know that we can't tell the whole story, but Salina, we
It's
watched
it's
mir
miraculous.
we watched multiple miracles. We are still watching
Mm-hmm.
miracles like
Yes,
every day. It's almost like ramped up. Like it's almost like become
it
exponential.
has. Yeah. Recently for you especially. Yeah. But in my line of work, I work with, anywhere from 15 to 20 clients a week at this point, and I expect to see miracles just about every day, and it happens. So, I mean, I love doing this work. I'm not surprised at all by your results. I'm thrilled, but I'm not surprised because God
Yeah.
is amazing.
He is. He is. And I think as we turn to him, it's almost like he wants to give his children good gifts.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and it was fun for us. Like we were just like two kids whenever like I would message you and I'm like, you're never gonna believe what God did. Like this, and this. And you're like, and you would get so excited with me. And so it was just this like exchange of multiplying that energy to even praise him more. And so as we continued to praise him in those victories, it was just like he was wanting to show off more and dig up more miracles. And
Right.
now he's just showing off.
That's right. The abundant life. That's what God wants for us,
and
for sure.
and honestly, it totally ties in with your title of your business is Radiant Life Coding. And
Yes.
it really is. I mean, Salina, there's so many times that I talk to people, even on Zoom, and they're just like, there's a radiance on you, there's a light on you. And I'm just like, and I want to go, yeah, it's thanks to Salina. Like,
Radiant life coding.
Radiant Life Coding. Yes. If you want to know where I got my radiance, it's from Radiant Life Coding. And what I really like now is that you have made it so um accessible to me and so easy that you have empowered me to do it myself. And it's funny because you've been telling me for, I think,
Yeah.
since day one.
I mean, I encourage, I'm one of those practitioners, you know, I love all my clients. I love working with people all over the world, but I don't want to be the crutch. You know, I want to help you, you know, if you're in a crisis, if you're just feeling stuck, emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever, you know, support you during that time. But part of my work is to empower you to be able to do that for yourself. And then maybe, you know, see me once or twice a year to get whatever you can't get. That's fine. But, you know, I didn't push you. I encouraged you and kind of left it there. And when you got around to it, you'd get around to it. But for, you know, my clients who do want to learn the muscle testing and learn how to clear trapped emotions on themselves, that's definitely part of what I love to do. Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
so proud of you able to do it now all on your own.
Yes. And I really, I love that safety of knowing that I've got you in my back pocket. Um, where like you literally are my mentor, that whenever I run into something that I'm just like, ooh, like this is new, or I don't know how to
Right. How
deal
do
with
I
this.
navigate this? Yeah.
Yeah, that all I have to do is just schedule a session with you, and we can just talk about all the things. And um nine times out, well, okay, let's just say 10 times out of 10, everything that I am coming up against that I'm just like confused about, you've done it before. You know, you have that experience. And so I tell people all the time, okay, so you can literally go to emotion code chart on Google and you can print out your own emotion code. You can go read the book, The Emotion Code.
Hmm.
You can read is there a book, The Body Code?
No, no. And
Okay.
definitely don't try to start with body code.
Don't try to start with Body Code.
Master the emotion code first. Yes. We do need to let people know though, if you have a lot of heaviness on you and your vibration's really low, it's probably not the going to be an easy thing to learn how to do the muscle testing needed and to release trapped emotions off of yourself. If you've been chronically in a very stressed or difficult state, you may want to reach out to have a practitioner help you.
Yes, 100%. That's exactly what I was going to say. I'm so glad you said it that way. That's perfect. But that's what I'm saying. Like, this is literally on Google. Like, you can go
Yes.
get this, you can go read the book. But if you really want to get that personal connection to really like troubleshoot there's no way that your whatever obstacles you come up against is going to be in the book. And so to have that person who can literally walk through this with you is foundational. I would not recommend anyone going into this, because if you really think about it, Salina, this is spiritual battle. This is spiritual warfare. And so if you think about it, you wouldn't just like randomly go into spiritual warfare without your armor, without your protection, your protection in prayer, your protection from God. And so I see you as, you know, this mentor to be able to help me to safely navigate into this, to protect my family on all fronts. Like, yes, I protect my family with food. Yes, I protect the environment, but now I'm able to protect my family in the spiritual realm. And that is priceless to me.
And you're doing such an amazing job. You are.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to put the links in the show notes, but people can find you on Instagram from Radiant Life Coding, correct?
Correct. Hmm.
And then your website is radiantlifecoding.com.
Yeah, and they can go there. There's a video they can watch that explains in depth what the emotion code is, what to expect in a session, and to answer all their questions. And then if they want to schedule a free 10-minute consult, they can do that on the website as well. Or if they're ready to start a session and schedule their sample session, they can do that there also.
Awesome. Awesome. And this can be remote. It doesn't have to be in person. It can be via Zoom, FaceTime, phone call. Um,
Or
so think
email.
or email. There you go.
Yes.
There you go. Well, anything else that you wanted to add?
Um, can't think of anything else. Well, I definitely just want to thank you, Emily, for sharing this with your audience and um, just getting the word out there about the emotion code. Again, just want to encourage everyone to. Oh, there's also a movie about it on Gaia.
Oh,
E
what's it
as in,
called?
I believe it's E as in Edward, E, and then dash motion, something like
Oh,
that. Yeah.
wow.
So if they look up E motion and maybe put the creator's name, Dr. Bradley Nelson, and search for the movie, it'll come up.
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
Yes. Yes.
I love it. Well, I really I I don't want to think about what my life would look like if you hadn't walked into it. But thankfully I don't have to, because you're here and you've taught me so much. You're continuing to teach me so much every day. And I couldn't not tell people about this because so many people look to me and and yes, meat and fat have totally turned my life around, but it was like the gateway drug. Just
Right.
eating meat and fat cleared out the noise of the inflammation so that I was able to do this work. And then this work brought an just an
A new
exponential
level. Yes.
level of clarity.
Oh, while you brought that up, I meant to bring this up since your community is mainly meat based. So those that are transitioning into a meat-based diet, they're often dealing with sugar cravings, carb cravings. The emotion code is really, really effective in um, triggering, in releasing trapped emotions that trigger carb and sugar cravings. So that
Wow.
can be very helpful as well.
That's amazing. I didn't even think about that application.
Yeah, because you didn't have that problem anymore. We didn't have to work on that with you, but yeah, I've had to work for myself and for other people, to get out the trapped emotions that are causing and contributing to, sugar and carb addiction and self-sabotage. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being my friend and my mentor. You are just such a blessing. And I pray right back at you that all the blessings that you brought to me, that you will get back tenfold.
Oh, thank you, Emily. Thanks for having me here. Love you so much.
All right. Love you too. Talk to you later.
All right, bye now.
Bye.